I like solo leveling. Please don't get me wrong. The title isn't to rage bait or clickbait or pretend that I dislike solo leveling. I actually really like solo leveling for some reason. High quality anime after all, basically of how the last episode review and reaction will go, right? Everyone's gonna scream, "Aura farming, the risk is up," or whatever. Everyone on the positive side are gonna pretend that it's the greatest anime of all time. You're gonna be like 10 out of 10, this is the greatest anime, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And of course the other side is gonna pretend it's a 3 out of 10, and they're gonna review bomb it, they're gonna hate it on it. So I really do hate everything surrounding solo leveling. First of all, the hate for solo leveling really reminds me of how everyone hated Demon Slayer, right? And when I mean everyone, I of course mean people that are pretending that solo leveling is a bad anime, just like with Demon Slayer, because it's popular, right? It's not about just having good animation or whatnot. This is contrarians, and I always really hated contrarians. Basically people, right, they pretend that they are too good to enjoy a good anime, just because the anime is popular. These fake anime fans, these contrarians, right, they will pretend that solo leveling is a bad anime only because it's popular. If solo leveling was a niche anime that no one heard about, they would have loved it, right? Now, of course, solo leveling looks amazing. I'm not saying it doesn't, right? My point is rather that you shouldn't just measure whatever is good or bad purely on how popular variant thing with Demon Slayer as well. So it's basically a history repeating itself. The most popular anime, the current, context of anime fans and whatnot, right, is just being hated by people that want to pretend that they're too smart for their own good, right? They want to pretend they're better than you because they're not watching that popular anime. That's the first thing I hate with solo leveling. I hate how it pulls in these people that cannot actually distinguish between good or bad anime anymore. That being said though, secondly, I also hate how the contrarian to some extent are correct though. Obviously, they're not correct on the actual level of the anime itself, right? The writing or whatnot. But they are correct in how people are overhyping solo leveling. Again, I don't say it as a hater. I mean, I really like solo leveling for some reason, right? My point isn't that they are correct in the sense that the anime is bad. My point is they are correct, of course, in how a lot of people will extremely hype solo leveling. Like it's the greatest thing ever since sliced bread, and I really do hate that. It's just really silly. Obviously, you see videos like this, see posts like this, right? Constant people say, "Oh, it's so peak, it's the greatest thing ever," yada yada yada. And again, I'm not here to argue how good it is, if it is 10 out of 10 or 11 out of 10 or whatever, but I do absolutely hate that a large part of, so to speak, the popularity of solo leveling makes a lot of people be what I call blind fandom, right? It's this blind, fanatical feel to it, that no matter what happens, solo leveling is the best thing ever. No matter what happens in other anime, it's not even close to it. I really do dislike this constant, fake rivalry between One Piece fans and solo leveling fans. Oh, this would be more peak, or it can be more peak, or this animation. Who cares, man? It's the most childish way to have a discourse ever, Jesus Christ. And it's really annoying. So unfortunately, I agree, right, with those contrarians in the sense that a lot of people are blind loving it, no matter what happens, right? Again, you should be very clear here. I don't think there is an actual bad episode of solo leveling. I think it just works fine, right? But at the same time, I don't think that every episode is 10 out of 10, the perfect anime that ever been made, right? But it's an 8 out of 10 episode. But it is annoying, right? It's annoying trying to talk to people and being like, oh, they pretend that everything that happens is always just 10 out of 10. And the discourse is super annoying. I love this scene here. Again, I like solo leveling a lot, guys. I think it's a great anime. But I do definitely see a major issue with the actual language and the anime popularity around that, right? Because certainly I do feel, and come at me if you don't agree with me or whatever, but I certainly feel that the discussion between solo leveling is incredibly surface level, right? Where's the depth, guys? And I do think this is a new thing that I've been seeing for the last few years when it comes to anime community. And because solo leveling is so popular, it has grown, massively in size very rapidly, and increasing more and more fans or whatever, right? I do feel definitely that the discussion is getting less and less deep, and just more shallow for every day that goes, right? In a very, again, fast speed. And I do find that actually, again, I hate it. I really do hate that because I like doing anime stuff, right? I like going to the forums, discussing anime and so forth, right? And I'm not that interested in what I see when the content becomes this, right? When everything becomes like, oh, aura farming, oh, the positioning, oh, look at the wrist, the aura farming. I'm sorry, but I hate it. I really do hate it. Jesus Christ. It feels like the most linguistic lack of any kind of depth, right? The people can barely even talk anymore when they keep using these words. Now I'm not sitting here saying that aura farming isn't a fun thing to say. An issue on, I'll say it, modern, new, lingo, gen, whatever, right? It's more an issue of like the limitation of everyone who's spamming the same stuff all the time and not actually explaining more than a deeper, meaning behind it, right? And it gets frustrating, I think, then, because I have to admit here that when I'm doing my own like reviews and reactions to pseudo leveling, I will admit it, I'm actually sitting there saying these words, right? Because I know people like when I say that. Oh, he's aura forming! And then I'm honestly questioning myself a little bit afterwards, being like, wait, why did I say that word for? Well, have I just adapted too much to the, whatever, current linguistics? But it feels more like that I'm faking it, right? That I almost feel like I'm faking it. Not that I'm lying or anything, but that I'm using words because I know this is the current, like, what to say about this anime. And it feels just like everyone else doing the exact same thing, right? As I'm eating it here, that you kind of adapt into that language. Like, this is my emotions over this thing during a reaction. So I'm gonna say these words, right? Because, like, why for that? Why for this? You risk that, I do feel I say some of those words, right? Because, again, it's so incredibly popular, and I know that half my viewers have never seen an anime before in my life. And I guess I have to admit, that's also part of the whole pseudo leveling dislike or disdain then, right, for the popularity that I feel, because I feel like I have to communicate, right, to people that have never seen an anime before in my life. So they have these, like, very few words to understand, right? And maybe I'm calling out some media literature here, perhaps, but it's basically like they understand the word waifu, aura farming, risking, overpowered. It's like a few words. It feels very, very limited. Am I the only guy? I do think the whole discourse, right, is super annoying. It really, really is. But I also do feel that it kind of comes back to what I said earlier. This is like the ultimate, anime noobs, right? So nothing wrong being, of course, new to anime, but I think it's incredibly clear. But I think it's fair to say that a lot of the hate pseudo leveling gets, right, is actually accurate then. Because the thing is that even if, again, I like the anime, it's good or whatever, thing is that it is not the best aura forming ever done on the planet, right? It's not the best writing or whatever. And it really does feel like a lot of the reason we're having this really weird discourse is, again, because of the massive, insane popularity, which of course has attracted all these like ultimate anime tourist noobs, right? Like I said earlier, nothing wrong being a tourist, so to speak, coming into anime for the first time, but it doesn't feel kind of silly. I hope you understand where I'm coming from here. If it's kind of silly when someone is telling me, I make a video and say, oh, it's a great episode, that's a great aura forming, and I get a comment like, oh yeah, it's the greatest aura forming ever made by, real time. And I'm like, no, what? And then I asked them, what do you mean? Like, what about this scene in Naruto or Bleach or One Piece, Dragon Ball, whatever, or every other fighting anime? And they're like, I've never seen them. I've never seen a single other anime in my life. You're like, yeah, I get that. Maybe I'm just an old man, right? But when I see this scene here, for example, from Naruto, I don't think Soul Leveling has any close seat at all to this. Look at this thing here. Naruto's entering, which was pain, right? Spoilers, whatever, it's old anime. Bam, stats on a frog, another frog, another frog. This scene here, right, I will say beats every aura forming scene in Soul Leveling. I'm not here to argue if I'm right or wrong or whatever. My point is rather that it really does feel, honestly, like a massive irritation to have and a hatred, right? Again, for Soul Level being so popular, because the discourse is basically with like the most anime tourists I've ever seen in my life. And I do think also that as creates the language by itself, right? Because these people have never seen the anime, they have no reference to it, right? And they're mostly using kind of like the modern, so to speak, language, right, around other stuff, just anime itself. The whole discourse becomes really, really annoying and very, very limited and shallow. Now, of course, I'm not saying that you can't have good, debates or arguments or whatever about Soul Leveling, but I do think that we are in a situation right now, right, But if you either have a large percentage of like anime fans or whatever hating on the anime purely because it's so popular, right? And that gets worse then because the popularity is increasing and it gets more and more shallow talking points, so they get angry, right? And at the same time, that is triggering the other side to be even more, overcompensating or even more positive about solo leveling, whatever happens. And then, of course, creates a very polarizing situation. And again, I keep saying it, I actually think that solo leveling, everything around solo leveling, would actually be better if it was less popular. Sister leveling, though, is of course awesome. Jokes aside, I think sister leveling points exactly to what I'm talking about. Because obviously then, I assume people know about sister leveling and the parodies or whatnot, right? But just the way the people that are fans of the anime react to it, obviously almost like everyone, but a large portion, right, like loses their mind over that. And that to me, again, screams, right, very, very like new to anime. They don't get the whole like only related by blood jokes or whatnot, right? And they just can't handle this kind of stuff, right? Now I'm not saying you have to enjoy sister leveling, that's my point. I'm just saying that it's constantly this like incredible, it's shallow. It just feels very, very shallow. Everything around it. And I hate it. And it really comes from, right, how the anime is so popular. It brings out the worst in the contrarians to pretend that everything is just terrible. And they will always try to argue that every anime has to be some kind of like masterpiece of philosophy with Nietzsche and Kierkegaard, has to be blah 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 and Kant. No. Some animes can be just fighting, right? Some animes can be just like a romantic. It doesn't have to be anything else than that. But at the same time, like I mentioned earlier, with the increasing, enormous, truly increasing fan rate, right? They will pretend that solo leveling is more than this, right? So I just think, honestly, the popularity in solo leveling brings out just the worst in everyone. Except me, of course. I'm the only one keeping it real, right? No, anyway, guys, like the video, please subscribe, press the like button. What do you guys think? But seriously, I feel this is like the exact review we will have of today's episode. In the final episode today, either the reviews and reactions are gonna go, oh my god, this is the greatest fight of all time, the wife is so amazing, blah blah blah, sister, mom, hot, blah blah blah, action, blah blah blah, best team, rating, oh my god, I can't wait for the next, oh my god, oh my god. Or it's gonna be right from the other side, this is the worst anime ever, it's incredibly bad, it's only animation, it has no writing, there's no storytelling, all the female characters are ugly, whatever, right? It's gonna be that thing. What do you guys think? Anyway, see you guys and have a great day.